What moves us to serve humanity, to achieve meaningful change, is genuine empathy, the capacity to feel the pain of others, to experience an intimate shared humanity, to accept discomfort and sacrifice in the path of a greater cause. In entering an authentic communion with others, we also discover a profound expression of our own dignity. Those are the words of Payam Akivan from the 2014 Human Rights Lecture in Vancouver, Beyond Human Rights, Building a World on Empathy. I found his interview on CBC Ideas very stimulating. The link is below the video. Here are some of my thoughts on it. I have entitled it, Empathy is Not Compassion. Empathy is a state of perception based on the spiritual communion of life. The interview with the lawyer Payam Akivan, although I have a generally low opinion of lawyers, gobsmacked me into a higher understanding of what confronts humanity. It struck me that without empathy, one can't have true compassion, tolerance, or the ability to compromise. In my opinion, these are the best human traits a leader might possess in today's complex world, especially when they are combined with a larger intellect, directly coupled with a diminished ego. This is my opinion. This seems to be an ideal checklist for a benign and beneficial, truly responsive, elected representative in a so-called free, multifaceted society. Sadly, we still, as a species, adhere to the genetically programmed leadership model which served our primitive, aggressive primate troop well. We haven't evolved yet because our species is currently in the grip of a conservative ideology which has been necessary as a survival mechanism. It is probably a remnant left over from the harsh primeval times where aggressive strength in leadership was important to our species' survival. In my opinion, this is a reflection, as I said before, of the tendency for accurate transmission of genetic material via replication in cellular reproduction. There is also a natural force which is equally important but naturally weaker to mutate or make slight changes in our genetic material. This I see in the reflection of human political nature. Those whose main thinking revolves around conserving power, control, accumulating wealth, supporting a strong military, and taking aggressive action don't want change or any kind of genetic mutations, and it's against the very nature of natural selection not to want this change. Maybe intuitively, we as a self-aware thinking species understand this and know that the mechanisms of change are freedom of thought, tolerance, and compromise. And since genetic mutations are caused only by radiation, heat, and ingested chemical compounds, perhaps we can infer prohibition to use different substances also is at its root a barricade to natural change, disguised as being good for us by our corrupt politicians. It is no mystery to me that psychedelic substances have been found to help create empathy, which can last a lifetime. Certainly there is no evidence that their use is any more dangerous than alcohol, which creates violence in its users. These substances, which may be the only natural bridge our species has, are being forbidden in a global spirit of repression by the right, warlike, primal human conservative drive, a once necessary mechanism to our species' survival. In this year of the Canadian election, I will wonder about all aspects of the human condition and why we find ourselves so poorly served by our leadership. I mean, wouldn't we all want better outcomes, results in our lives instead of more of the same caused by the same old thinking? I'm wondering who amongst the current crop of wannabe prime ministers would have the most empathy for humanity. These jokers have all thrown their hats into the old model political leadership ring, where it seems the most vicious, financially well endowed, beholden to the corporate power interests, campaigners will entertain us with rude conflict of bullshit in epic proportions. Isn't that why they seem so totally interchangeable in their attitude and behavior? They are the same contenders for our primate troop loyalty we have always had and will fight hard to eliminate one another in a violent conflict. No wonder the solutions to our problems evade us, and there is ever more strife in the world. We pick our leaders for their confrontational qualities, to perpetuate our political ideologies, to entertain us, not to find solutions to human social problems. Empathy is a human state of being which can be a basis for preemptive action in everyone's lives that seeks solutions through compromise, not conflict.